Alright guys, what is going on? Oink here, bringing you the latest GT5 seasonal events. This is the Honda Civic competition, or I think it's labelled as the Honda Civic race, and you'll find it in seasonal events of course on Gran Turismo. This is of the 8th of November, and you'll find it there, the furthest on the left, under seasonal events of course. I'm going to go through each race as usual and show you which car I used and some tips for each of the races. So the entry requirements is a maximum of 415 performance points, maximum tyres of Comfort Soft, and you have to use one of the listed cars here, all of which are Civics. You can't use absolutely any Civics. For example, the prize car is a Civic and you can't use it. But those are all the cars that you can use, both premium and standard. Races, we've got Tsukuba Circuit first, then Autumn Ring Mini, Trial Mountain Circuit, Clubman Special Stage Route 5, and an Eiffel Kart Custom for the last one. The Civic that I chose to use is the Premium Civic Type R 2008. It's actually the sort of saloon one as opposed to the hatchback version. I don't believe you can't actually get the hatchback version of this game. I don't know why. I think it's a much cooler looking car. Anyway, if we go into settings, obviously max out your tyres on Comfort Soft. Customizable suspension, I just lowered it just slightly. I actually decreased the stiffness on the front springs and increased the stiffness slightly on the back springs. Similarly, I increased the compression rate on the dampers on the front and left everything else the same. If you compare that with the default, you should be able to see exactly what I've done there and do that for yourself. Fully upgraded the clutch, fully upgraded the flywheel, didn't bother with a limited slip diff. Transmission, you want to be changing this per race, so I'll go into that again per race, so get the fully customizable one. No turbos, no exhaust. I took the racing air filter basically just to get up to 415 performance points. The only other upgrade that I've got, I'll show you in a sec, but yeah, basically just turn down your performance points as usual after the engine increases in power after each race or after each restart, whichever it is you need to do, just turn it down. As you can see, I've got the carbon fibre bonnet. That's the only other upgrade that I've got for the performance points. The prize car for this race is a Gathers Drider Civic race car. This is a custom build Civic race car. It's a standard. It is a pretty nice car and one of the Civics that you can't use to compete in this race. Another good choice if you don't like the car that I chose might be the racing mod Civic that you can get, which is also a nice one. So getting into Tsukuba, first one, quite an easy race here. I was pretty sloppy. This is my first race with this car and this is the first time trying it, so I didn't have particularly great lap times. Everyone knows Tsukuba. It's short, it's a relatively simple track, there's nothing serious to it. Might find a little bit of understeer given that it's an FF car, but I mean it's a fairly easy race. You shouldn't have too many problems. It's 5 laps on this one, and as you can see here, just approaching first place about halfway around the last lap. They're coming up to the last straight, so plenty of time in there, and that was really sloppy. It wasn't sort of perfect anyway. Should be a nice easy one to begin with. Then I've just left it quite brief. Now the second race is Autumn Mini Ring here, and this is probably the toughest one, or one of the toughest ones. Really, this is what I had to change the suspension for. Keep your transmission nice and short. I put it maybe like even the very shortest it may well have been. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it may well have been the very shortest transmission. This, I've just shown you this whole clip. You really want to get that whole line down and smooth, because that's going to be a crucial part of this race, is getting that whole big long line, the back half of the lap, really nice and smooth basically. It's a crucial element, as I said. Basically try not to lift the accelerator off too much. Try and keep it nice and smooth, not too much braking. If you need to slow down, just let off the gas just a little bit, and that should slow you enough so that you can just keep the curve. Basically, it's almost non-stop turning left and right that whole way round until you get back to the beginning of the next lap. As you can see, I take there's a big gap in between fourth and third, which actually seemed to be in most of them, and I take first with a few turns left on the final lap there. one of the tougher ones. May take you a few tries again. Make sure you're just keeping it nice and smooth, not bumping into the cars too much. Trial Mountain then, again, very easy one, this one. I find with the more straights and whatnot that you get, it's just easy because you can't do anything wrong with a straight. This track, the car handles very nicely. Lots of the cameras and the turns really suit the layout of the car, the drivetrain, obviously at the front. For example, this corner here, you can just absolutely power around it. Really good fun, this track. You can go much faster than you would otherwise in, let's say, a rear-wheel drive car of the same power, I reckon. You really push it on this, and basically just a very easy one. You can see here, beginning of lap 2, I was in 4th or 6th or 5th or something like that, and then just at the start of lap 4, I take first place. So basically 2 whole laps in the lead there, which is you know, really easy, that one, so shouldn't have a problem on Trial Mountain. Track number 4 is the Clubman Circuit. This is probably the second hardest one after the Autumn Mini Ring, partly because of that first corner, and I'm going to show it to you again, and I'll show it to you coming in a bit faster here, just because that first corner is probably the toughest one to get right, and then into that second one you get that. This little chicane left and right, you can do it nearly full speed, maybe just let the accelerator off a tad coming into it, but then turn nice and early, and you should be able to get through that almost full speed. And this final big right-hander, you should be gear 4, I think I turned the transmission just up a little bit to maybe 130. You should be able to gear 4 all the way around that full accelerator, maybe just a little less. So that final turn there you just seen, make sure you're braking relatively early and almost in a straight line, and when it looks like almost you're about to hit into the barrier that cuts across, you going to the right into the turn, then turn in and accelerate through maybe 3rd or 4th gear and accelerate right through the middle of the turn. Just aim your car straight into the middle there. And it's just a small amount of understeer should take you exactly through the corner perfectly. But make sure you're braking nice and early, because that one can induce understeer and you might not actually make it. And bumping the barrier will reduce your speed a lot on that one there. And you can see there I only took oh, sorry, excuse me, only took first on the last corner of the last lap there. So you really do need to make sure it's a tight lap that you're doing. Go and check my lap times if you need to find reference on sort of what I was getting on there. So last track then, this is one of the trickier tracks to drive, although actually the opponents kind of suck, and you can see here on that corner there is basically what makes this track really hard. It's like a blind right-hander with exceedingly high amount of understeer. You can see here, if you cut in the turn before nice and early, brake really early, turn in first, and in 3rd gear, and basically if you brake too late or you turn in too late, you just get like 100% understeer and you just won't go anywhere, and you'll end up in the grass like I showed you in that first clip, and it is just killer. I mean, I did that like 3 times in a row. It's such a difficult turn to judge, and if you do judge it wrong, then that's basically thrown you off the course. So that's basically the crucial element to this particular track, and if you can get that down, keep everything else again nice and smooth, similar to the other one, just letting the gas off the just a little bit to stop the understeer, and turning in nice and early, and I mean should come in with plenty of time there. Alright, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.